Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome back to another installment of A Fool's Interpretation of the Havamal. I am your guest, the Fool Robert, and tonight we will be discussing stanzas 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38. Now, if you watched my last video, stanza 34 begins on page 17. So you won't see the first couple of lines that I read in this video. If you want to go back to my previous video, take a look at it, that's fine. Or if you want to pick up your own copy of Dr. Jackson Crawford's The Wanderer's Havamal, then that's fine too. But before we get into tonight's topic, I want to talk about something that I mentioned in last night's video when I said the kind of man I perceive myself to be. And then when I was listening to that later on, made me want to fucking throw up in my mouth, because the whole reason that I started wanting to make these videos was to talk about being self-analytical, to learn, to discuss, and to learn how to look at your life, the decisions that you've made, the actions you've done throughout your life, and then critique yourself and do it in a real and honest way, and understand yourself for what you really are. Are you a piece of shit? Are you being productive? Are you being lazy? So like, I don't perceive myself as a good man, as a good father, as a good husband, everything. I know I'm a good man, and I'm a good father, and I'm a good husband, and I'm a good friend. So with that out of the way, you need to figure out what kind of fucking man you are, what kind of a man you're growing into. If you're a young man, if you're a teenager, or if you're a young man that's in your early 20s and shit like that, and you're trying to work towards building a family and stuff like that, you need to be self-analytical and be real about it, and be honest with yourself about where you've fucked up and where you've been successful in your life, and focus on fixing the behavioral patterns that you've done throughout your life. Where if you are serious about critiquing your life patterns, you'll notice a series of decisions you've made throughout your life that have led you to the place that you're at now. Sorry, my phone thinks I was talking to it, and it's recording shit that I'm saying right now. Hold on a second. But yeah, so this whole thing is about discussing about being analytical of yourself and life, and doing it in a realistic way, and being honest about the things that you've failed in and the things that you've been successful in within your life, and then realizing that even when you do have some fuck ups and some things that you need to fix about yourself, that you're not completely worthless, and there are things that you're good at, and you're probably not as worthless as you think. But with that out of the way, let's get into these stanzas, and I'm going to start with stanza 34. It is a long and crooked walk to a bad friend, even if he lives nearby. But it's an easy road to a good friend, no matter how long the journey. What this makes me think of is the different friends that I've lost throughout my life. Like, when this is talking about it's a long and crooked walk to a bad friend, what I think that's talking about is, like, even if he lives nearby, it's talking about how forgiving people are, especially the closer somebody is to you, the more forgiving they will be to you, and the more and you'll be to them. The longer and the deeper rapport you have with somebody is going to is going to is going to make them be willing to forgive you for more things than obviously a stranger would. And so it can take a long time to burn down that bridge that you have with a good friend. But once it's gone, it's gone. And what I think it's talking about with, it's an easy road to a good friend, no matter how long the journey, is because it's like when, like the way that I look at this, it's like, say you got to walk to, the example everybody uses is walking on a trail through a forest to your friend's house. Because everybody always wants to use an example that's from the time period that this shit was written in, which is kind of fucking annoying because it's 2024. So so that's another part of the reasons why I'm making these videos, is because I want to talk about this shit in a modern days uh, perception. Like, I feel like everybody that I watch online that that has doctorates or extensive educations in this, they're always telling you about how this stuff is relevant to the time period it was written in. And how how the people of that time would have perceived these stanzas and stuff, and how they would have lived. And nobody, well, at least nobody I admire really that I've come across, talks about applying these things in contemporary time. And so I don't like using the example of walking through a trail, or walking along a trail through the woods, and the reason why it's an easy path to a good friend, even if the journey is long, is because both of you are walking that path on a regular basis. And when you walk a path through the woods, it creates a dirt path because you're walking it, so nothing's going to grow on the ground. And then when you're walking it, you're probably going to maintain it as you walk it, so you're cutting down bushes that are overgrown, branches that fall along the way. If a tree falls along the path, you and your friend get together, you cut up the tree, you pull it aside, and you cut the tree all up, and now you both got some firewood, blah, blah, blah. You both helped each other out, and the path is still there. And it's an easy path to walk because you're both helping each other out. Okay, well, none of us are walking along paths through the fucking woods to get to our friends' houses anymore, Now you're hopping in your car, you're driving down the road that the government doesn't put enough of our taxes in to fix, so you fucking hit a bunch of potholes along the way and shit. And that path sometimes isn't the easiest path to your friend's house. But all joking aside, what I think this is talking about is the path to your friend's house being easy. It's talking about having a positive reciprocal relationship with somebody. You you gotta you got some shit to do at your house, like, so you're trying to clean out your garage or some shit like that. You call up your buddy, you say, hey, I got some some shit to move, I need another set of hands. Does your buddy come over and help you out? Well, if he does, and then the next time he needs some help, you're more inclined to help him because you know that he's come and help you. And then if you need help in the future again, then he's gonna come and help you. So it's a I like to think of it kind of like ping pong or something. You're both playing the game back and forth, and yeah, shit's gonna be easy because you got people that you can depend on. 35. You should keep moving. You should never be a guest forever in any one place. Your welcome will wear out if you stay too long beneath another's roof. God, this reminds me of a bunch of my old friends. I hope they're doing well, because a number of them are drug-addicted homeless people now. And this reminds me of them because over the years, a series of these guys would ask if they could just crash at my house or a buddy's house, just for a week or something. That week turns into 2 weeks, turns into a month, turns into, are you going to pay me any rent because you've been here so long, to, okay, next month you can give me some rent. Like, we'll just start it from now, blah, blah, blah. Now 3 months have gone by and you're starting to hate this motherfucker that used to be your best friend because he's been sleeping on your couch, eating your food, not paying you rent, maybe pitching in a little bit for weed or beer or something like that, or Friday night pizza or whatever the fuck. But you're like, bro, I just had a $500 electric bill and rent is $1,300 on top of that, not to mention water and blah, 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 everything else. Like, bro, you seem to be watching Netflix and everything else all day long. You want to help me pay for my fucking subscriptions? You're just going to sit on my couch all day long. Like this, this is why you don't. Yes, it's important to have friends in case you need help. Every now and then, everybody needs help, and you need friends in case you need someplace to go crash. But you can't take advantage of your friends' hospitality. Otherwise, like this stanza is saying, it's just going to cause problems. 36. It's better to have a home, even if it's little. Everyone should call somewhere home, even if you own just 2 goats beneath a faulty roof. That's still better than begging. This makes me think of when I used to be ashamed of living in an apartment. And not even that, but living in a low income apartment complex. I used to be like really embarrassed of that fact. And when when my wife and I, well, we weren't married back then, but when we were living in apartments, neither one of us wanted to have children because, like, we saw other people that lived in the complexes and they had kids. Some of them only had one, some had a bunch. And then when I meet these people and like see how they lived in their apartments, and I just saw like how it's not like their places were filthy or something, or they were bad parents. It's just, I just saw like all these kids running around inside a tiny apartment, and then for some reason, I, I like, I don't think this. I mean, I think this is the incorrect viewpoint that I had. Like, I would have been embarrassed to. I was already embarrassed to be living in an apartment, and then I would have been more embarrassed to have children while living in an apartment, and uh, and I think that that's completely wrong. Of course, we all want to have a house, and then those of us that have a house, of course, we all want a bigger house. Um, and those of us that want bigger and better things, sometimes we're ashamed of the things that we do have. And I think that that's completely wrong, because what I should have been telling myself when I was in my 20s and I was living in an apartment was, look, bro, you got a job, you're going to school, you and your girlfriend are paying your own bills, you're doing your own thing, you're not depending on somebody else to pay your way through life. So you are being successful, even though you could be more successful. So we're always trying to work to be better. But fuck, the only regret that I have in life is not having kids sooner, and not having more kids sooner after I started having kids with my wife. Um, you know, yeah, that's still better than begging, dude. Yeah, it's even like this part where it says even if you own just two goats, like yeah, bro, nobody's owning fucking goats, and for the most part, most of us aren't dealing with leaky roofs. Some of us do have to deal with leaky roofs, and so that's still applicable to today. But the two goats thing, bro, even if you have to walk to work, even if you ride a bike to work, even if you ride the bus to work, even if you drive a fucking hoopty, that is still better than begging. That is still better than being one of these Antifa loser bums that are destroying the nearby city of Portland to where I live. You know, those people hate life. They hate life, and they hate everything about life, and they blame the reason they hate life on everything else. It's nothing. Nothing, not their fault. Nothing they could have done could have made their life better or worse or anything. It's the system. It's the system. Okay, pussy, the fuck out of here. 37. Better to have a home, even if it's little. Everyone should call somewhere home. Your heart will be wounded if you have to beg for every meal from somebody else. This reminds me of a couple things too. This reminds me of this guy that I work with who hates the fact that he lives in like a studio apartment. I mean, of course, I wouldn't want to live. He's a single dude. I wouldn't want to live in a studio apartment either. Look, like I live on some land. I'm on a few acres and stuff. I'm trying to build a little farm, and of course, that's what he wants to do too. He wants to get married, have kids, do all that stuff. But and I think also like how I used to be embarrassed at living in a low income apartment. I think he's slightly embarrassed about the fact that he lives in a studio apartment in the city, and he pays out the ass for rent because shit's fucking retarded. But he shouldn't be embarrassed. He's correct to want to strive for more, but he should also be proud of the fact that he's independent. He works a good job at a good company, and he pays his bills. He does everything an upstanding member of society does, and for that he should be proud because he doesn't have to beg for anything from anybody. So he should be proud of himself, and he should be. And then the parts of in his life where I can tell that he's not proud of himself because he's not there yet. He should just be proud of himself because he's working towards those things. So it's all about working towards it. As long as you're building yourself better, building yourself up, working better, doing more. Never be stagnant. Never slip back. Even though that will happen, there will be times in your life where you become stagnant and you slip back, and it's just like climbing up a hill. You're gonna fall and tumble, and you're gonna have to get back up and start climbing again. That's life. All right, stanza 38. Never go even a single step without a weapon at your side. You never know when you might find yourself in need of a spear. Now, the last couple of lines are on the next page of 21, so you don't see them in this video. You won't see them until next video. But yeah, so that's why I'm reading things that you're not seeing. But what this makes me think of is like this just makes me think of how I feel all the time. I don't like leaving my house without some kind of weapon ever. It makes me fucking paranoid. And if I can't bring an actual weapon with me wherever I'm going, I try to wear my steel toe boots, because you can a steel toe boot or shoe can do a lot of damage and can be used to protect yourself, which is why you should be carrying weapons with you wherever you go to protect yourself from the kind of craziness that is going on in cities like Portland, nearby where I live. Like, we just had a woman in the city of Portland in broad daylight. She was walking down the road, minding her own business, normal person. She's passing a bum camp. You know, like we got like traffic turnarounds and stuff like that, and it used to be these like little turnarounds and shit. There'd be like some trees and some bushes and some nice like wild roses or whatever, I mean the entire state. Yeah, I'm sure other states are like this too. Like when our roads and stuff are well taken care of, they make the scenery look pretty. You know, so while you're driving around, you don't just want to blow your fucking brains out because you're going to and from work nonstop, running errands, paying bills, looking at your pay stub, seeing all the dumb taxes being taken out of your check, hitting fucking potholes in the road, realizing that your money's going to some foreign fucking war instead of fixing you up your hometown. And then these nice pretty turnarounds that used to be all over your city are now fucking bum encampments. And then when some poor lady goes walking by, a pack of psycho fucking dogs maul this lady. I think it's like, I don't know exactly how many dogs it was. It just the news report just said a pack of dogs, so I'm guessing that at least 5. What makes a pack of dogs? They rip her arm off, or they don't rip her arm off. She has to get it amputated. They maul her so bad, she has to get an arm removed. I think she lost a fucking ear. They ripped an eyeball out of her face. Like, this is why you take a weapon with you everywhere you go, because you never know when you're going to have to defend yourself. And everybody's like, people are always like, today's world is so dangerous. Oh, it's not like back when I was blah blah. No, it's always fucking dangerous. The world is always dangerous. It's always gonna be dangerous. There's never gonna be a time when it's not, you know. So like if Portland didn't have the jacked up laws that it does, this lady should have been walking around. First of all, if Portland wasn't the way it was, then there wouldn't be bum encampments everywhere. And this lady could follow the stupid jacked up laws of Portland and walk around without a weapon, because she doesn't have to defend herself, because the police and society is so well kept that, you know, there are no bum encampments with packs of dogs to attack her. But it's not like that. You know, you can't depend on the city to keep you safe, and then they force you to follow these rules to where you can't defend yourself, and then you get attacked by a pack of dogs and you have to get your arm amputated. I hope she sues the shit, say that 5 times fast, out of this city and takes them. I hope she asks for $100 million. Like, that is fucking ridiculous. And everybody that lives in that bum camp should go to prison for 20 years. Like, that's psycho that she had her arm amputated. Anyways, stay strapped, and you guys have a good night, because I am gonna go get ready for bed. I am tired. I had a long day at work. I bet you guys did too. But keep kicking ass. Keep taking names. And I will talk to you guys later.